Hi there, welcome back to the channel. So this is part 2 on the Sonex 180. We left off with everything finally working. I basically was trying to do a quick, just a rewire, new pots, keep the pickups, keep everything else, but just rewire it, get it running and just listen to it. I was even thinking about selling it, just getting it up and running to sell it. But then I decided, hey, this is a perfect opportunity to learn something, and the neck pickup kept dying on me. So that's when I decided, all right, this neck pickup, these pickups suck anyway, I'm going to get new ones. So let's get back to the video. All right, so what I decided to do was buy some Seymour Duncan pickups. The only reason is that I'd always been curious about Seymour Duncan pickups, and I'd read a lot about them on the forums, and I'd heard Seymour Duncans and other people's guitars. Mark has the JB, no, he's got, the JB or the 59 in his Charbel that I like a lot. And so I knew that they were good, and I knew he had a history with Jimi Hendrix and all that stuff. So I wanted to try them, and I wanted it basically for aesthetic reasons. I just wanted these, bobbins, these zebra bobbins, as opposed to, just black ones. Because I thought that was one of the cool touches of the Sonex, was to have the zebra bobbins. And they actually have the whites flipped. That would be cool if they were reversed like that, but I don't care. You still get the effect. And I wanted just something kind of classic rock and roll. I put a couple of different sets on my cart on eBay, and a Georgia seller hopped in, Adonis Guitars, and sold me a set with a JB and a Jazz. I didn't even know if they were good or what they were, but they kind of made sense for the guitar just from reading the specs. I went ahead and ordered them because I got them all in for like 130 bucks. But I'd also put the Super Distortion, the Marzio Super Distortion in my cart, the 59 on the neck. So I had a couple different combinations, but this guy swept in, gave me a deal, so I just pulled the trigger because I didn't have much, experience with these pickups. But they turned out to be amazing, and the more I look into it, the more I find out that it's a classic combination that people really love. So I'm happy I did that. And the reason I did it, like I said, is I could not get that neck pickup to work. So I wanted to find out why, and at the time I wanted just to use those original pickups just, to get the guitar going. So I've already rewired it once. I did some cleanup work, got it to work, rewired it completely with new pots, new wire, new solder, new everything, new switch, stopped working again. So what I had to do was go back into the guitar, pull that neck pickup out. And one of the weird things about the Sonex is that it has this 3-screw pickup mount. And I'll show it to you here. See if you can see the 3 screw holes. There's 1, 2, 3. And so you can kind of adjust it to go back and forth like this, which is kind of goofy. It's almost pointless. They never did it again. So I had it in that original mount, and I was going to take the Seymour Duncans out and put them in the original mount, but I could tell that it was feeling precarious, and I didn't want to ruin those. But you can see these 2 little holes. They're now empty, and I just drilled a new one here, and I'll show you that process in a minute. But I didn't want to take that mount off of my new Seymour Duncans and put this mount on, A, because the mount's kind of annoying, and B, I didn't want to, screw up my pickups. So I took the original mount out. I took it out. I considered trying to put the Seymour Duncans in there, but when I could tell it was resisting as far as coming out and putting the screw holes in, I just stopped and decided, you know what, I'm going to just re-drill and do it the normal way, mount it with just the 2 screws. Here's the wonderful Jazz pickup. I'm opening it up here, and a little unboxing there, showing you the screws and the springs, everything that comes inside of it, a little instruction sheet with wiring. It's modern wiring that they usually give you the instructions for. So now I get the step drill out, or maybe just a small drill. It's just a small drill bit. And I drilled some nice new little holes there so that I can just eliminate this crazy mount that they use for those pickups. Like I said, it has that 3-screw system. Kind of pointless. Okay, so I drilled that. That all worked well. And I wasn't afraid to do it because, like I said, it wasn't the original pickguard or anything. It's a Chandler. And those are really good pickguards, by the way. But I wasn't worried about messing it up because I could buy a new one. They're like 40 bucks and buy the exact pickguard from them neat company. Okay, so now I'm remounting the pickups, and I was really excited. I thought, man, this is going to be easy. I just put this new pickup in and off and running. Here I am, getting ready to wire it. And a word on these Seymour Duncans, the way they're wired, your drain wire goes to the top and on the pot. The red and green you twist together, and I take a little bit of heat shrink and go over that, and just so those are off to the side. The black wire is, the black wire is your hot. The white and green you roll together. The drain wire goes on the pot, and you're off and running. So, and it looks like I'm, so when I first installed it, passing signal, everything's groovy. I think I'm home free. Let's see. There I am drilling the pick guard. Putting the pick guard back on. Okay, at some point, alright, here's these wires. You can see that I'm putting those wires together and just kind of winding them up. That's your drain wire. And then attaching the other wires together and putting the heat shrink on. Put new capacitors in. I did some nice orange drops, but I was still having trouble. It would work for a minute and then stop working. Work again, stop working. So I went and I was using, I'm not great at using my measuring equipment. Sometimes it'll work and sometimes I'm confused about what to connect to, because like I said, I'm very inexperienced, and I've sort of done this the paint by numbers way instead of really learning. I'm trying to learn though. It's not like I'm not learning. It's just that the desire to do things is ahead of the actual knowledge. So I kind of hack around. But I could not get that thing to work. So, and I was not passing signal to the neck tone pot. So I looked closely at the neck tone pot, and what had happened is, first I broke my ground wire, so that had to be fixed. And then all of the machinations of disconnecting the neck pickup, trying to find what was going on, I think I just noticed that pot. All the rest of the pots look clean, almost not as good as Gibson's soldering, but pretty clean, where you just have a little bit of solder and it's there and it looks nice and tight. Well, that pot was pretty glooped up. I should have saved it and photographed it to show you, but the top of it was just covered in solder. It was like a solder river. And I read somewhere that if any solder drips down into the holes on those pots, there's like a hole in the middle. If it drips down in there, it's basically like just a resistor in there, like a wire. Gets on that, your pot's grounded out. So I think, and I'm pretty sure because there's no signal passing when I measured it, that's where it was stopping, was at that pot. And so I replaced that pot, put it back in, resoldered everything, crossed my fingers, whatever you got to do, whatever you reach for, and it worked, which was a huge relief. I was like celebrating, because I'd actually put it aside for 5 days because it was driving me nuts, and it was just making me insane. But now it was working, so man, am I excited. Now, the last thing I wanted to do is, I've got these two holes here in the pickguard, because this is a Chandler pickguard, and this is for the artist. The artist has, or one of the other models, maybe the custom version, which didn't last long as a model, maybe a year or two. In one spot here, the bigger hole, they put a stereo jack spot, and that was because there was some effects and some active circuitry involved. I think maybe even, the artist had some electronic stuff, maybe by Moog, I can't remember. And then this mini switch that I put in here was a mini switch, I think, to push-pull pots, split them. So what I'm going to do is, I installed a momentary switch here, which I meant to put a latching switch. I'm going to take the momentary out of that one, put it right here where this mini switch is, and then I have a latching kill switch here. So I have a latching kill switch and a momentary kill switch, and that's just a cool effect to have. But I really like the latching kill switches just for staying quiet live, between songs or even recording, and as an effect. I haven't gotten into the effective part of it yet. I'm just using it as a way to get quiet quickly, because 50s wiring is so intertwined that it doesn't, especially on a flying V, you only have 3 knobs, so it's hard to quickly roll it off and get it quiet. Kill switch fixes that problem. And I was also thinking of doing a blower switch, but I kind of lost energy on that. I think I like the idea of the 2 kill switches instead. So here I am just hollowing out the little bit of shielding that's on there. That's sort of like a Strat. And then I take a step drill in order to install these. So this was installed with a step drill, and there's the little Tesi switch, and that's a latching switch. And so I start, and you can see that it has black and white wire pre-attached, and all you have to do with a kill switch, I usually just do a wind of the 2 wires, run them to your jack. The black wire goes on the ground side of the jack. The hot wire, the white wire goes on the hot, and you can flip them, doesn't matter, because whatever position it's in, that'll kill it. But I think the correct way is black, ground, white, hot, and you know the kill switch position open will be open, and when you press it down, it'll kill. And that's all you have to do. And here I am just stepping those holes with the drill, just big enough. You got to be careful when you put this kill switch on. Go slow. Do 1 step, test it some more. Maybe get a Dremel and come around nice and smooth and make sure that plastic stays smooth. Mine turned out pretty well, but you can bungle it. You can bungle it. So go in slow with that step drill. And then once you get it in there, you just run the kill switch through. It has a little nut on the bottom, nut washer combination, and then you just wire your black to ground, your white to hot. It's about the easiest mod I've ever done. You can see how I'm just running it through. Once you get enough space on that pick guard, then you just tighten up on the bottom, wire it to your output jack, done. That was a cool little mod. I dig those kill switches. So let's see, what else did I do here? What is that? Okay, that's the mini switch. Same idea, but once again, I'm going to do a video where I show putting on the other one, but it's the same idea. That one fit right in the hole. Didn't have to do any extra drilling. Little nut washer combination, hand tighten. And here's a close-up of the new pick guard. I think it looks really sweet with the add-ons, the mods. And I'm going to change that. That's the bridge. That was kind of the last step before I string it up. I cannot stand those wired bridges. I've never been successful with one. If I see one, it's coming off. I'm going to replace it every time because I don't think you can get them quiet. People pull the wires down with a screwdriver, like bend it down, sometimes in the middle, sometimes around each saddle. But I've never been successful with them, so I pulled that one up. And with the Sonex, if you want to replace it, you've got to get a Gotoh bridge, and it came with a Gotoh, so to keep that theme going, Gotoh bridge, but wireless, no wire. And this one has to have metric posts. This is like routed like an Epiphone, so don't forget about that. All right, there's the guitar with the 1 string. I'm going to test it here and make sure it gets signal, and it did. Thank God, I was so excited when that happened. I was really V for victory when that occurred. So I've got a Gibson guitar that I can take out live. I kind of retired my my custom, not for recording and not for playing around the house, but for taking out to shows. And the Les Paul is probably has been my overall favorite guitar. I think this might be the guitar I die with, just because it's so ergonomically right and just I can do everything on it. But I love Les Pauls. I think they're beautiful, and I love the way they sound. I love the way they play. I love everything about them. Love Flying V's too. I'm just got a thing for Gibson. I know they've had some issues or whatever, but man, they've got a great history. And I mean, come on, who makes guitars that look this incredible? I mean, they really do. Their guitars look fantastic, and they play great. And the history and just it's magic. I really believe it. Ted McCarthy and all that stuff. Yeah, I love it. All right, so inspiring. The Gibson story is inspiring. But look at this, man. I paid $178 for this. The pickups were $130. The bridge was like $25. The electronics were another $50, and that includes the pots, the switch, the wire, the caps, solder. I didn't have to pay for that. I had some, but still. Screws. What else did I do to this thing? It's got the original Schaller style tuners, which work great. No reason to mess with that. It's not shimmed. Put new Dunlop strap buttons on. Got this nice Franklin strap and these Ernie Ball strap lock, rubber strap locks. It's ready to rock. You will see me going crazy with this on stage. I'll try not to break it. But Oh, the only other thing about this guitar is it is a heavy chunk. It is heavy. I'll get a weight on it, and I'm going to do a proper sound demo where I really mic it, really use the zoom and make it sound good, you know, like really give you an impression of what it sounds like, and that'll give you a chance to hear what these Seymour Duncans sound like in it, because the original pickups, I shouldn't sound like that, because somebody out there might go, you know what, I love those pickups, and if you do, hey, that's good, because I'm a big believer in run with what you brung, you know, but for me, they could be bettered, and it's not that expensive. And now if you have dirty fingers in yours, get real. That makes the value of it go up by a lot. Or Velvet Bricks by Bill Lawrence. That's a ceramic design, but it's a design. It's not just taking a ceramic pickup and replacing a nice Alnico 5 or 2 or 4. So, different thing. I'm digging this thing, man. I really am. This is like what it's all about for me. And the thought, and I love this neck. This neck is like a 50s, 60s sort of thing. It's not slim. It's not super fat. Somewhere between it might be the perfect Gibson neck for me. Although I love my custom because it's so right. But this one gets, I think it's giving it a little more tone too, because there's a little more wood there. And so you're getting a little more projection. Okay, now listen to how this kind of sounds like a Strat. It's a little flatter, and this has brand new strings on it, so it's a little more boingy. But listen, it has more of a Stratty thing than a Les Paul thing. I mean, it definitely has a Les Paul thing, but it also has that rosewood kind of bounce. And the sound you get from a top-routed guitar, it's like more like a natural kind of reverb thing going on. Okay, here, listen to this. Hold on. Sorry, it's out of tune. But just grab that for your ears for a second, and then let's go to the Strat, and I'll show you how it's similar. This one has a truer fundamental note. It bounces more. It's like dong dong, very defined, and a little more like high-end sparkle. Like just the whole thing splashes more, but similar. This one's a little more of a softer delivery. These strings are a little fresher, but I think that this is the closest. This style is the closest they got to a Strat sort of tone. Okay, and finally, for one last comparison, let's go to the V and see what that does. This one sounds the most like a Gibson to me, even more than this one does, oddly enough. This sounds like a Gibson. It's the mahogany tone. Oof, out of tune. Okay, this one sounds the most like a Gibson to me, that mahogany tone. Compared to this, sounds a little more Stratty. A little more of that spring. Anyway, I find it interesting. Alright, so go find yourself a Gibson body and have fun next time.